Welcome to Buns, Burgers, and Big Ideas, the go-to podcast for aspiring and seasoned leaders in the quick service restaurant industry. Each week, we serve up actionable insights and proven strategies to help you lead smarter, build stronger teams, and elevate operations. Whether you're taking your first steps into leadership or refining your expertise, we're here to fuel your growth and spark big ideas. Let's dig in.
Good morning, Buns, Burgers, and Big Ideas audience. It's such a cloudy day today. You know what I wish we had, Eric?
What's that?
I wish we had some clarity.
A window?
A window would be nice.
Clarity.
Some clarity.
Yeah. All right.
So clarity and leadership is kind of what the theme for today is.
But why would you want clarity in leadership? Isn't it just easier when you're sitting in the fog and don't really know what to do or how to do it or when to do it?
Yeah. For some people, I guess maybe.
Living in that chaos.
Living in the chaos, yes. Yeah. So how to avoid overwhelming your people and leading with focus.
Yeah.
The tagline here is, if everything is important, nothing is.
It's true.
That's the Monte Cristo, the point of this whole thing today. And it's easy to make everything seem important because when you've got your boss breathing down your back, their boss is breathing down their back, now all of a sudden you've got 10 number one priorities. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's so hard on your team.
Yeah.
So
and we do, right? Like we want it all and we want it all right now, but everybody does.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, creating the clarity within like what are those most important things to you? And we have to help our team know those things. And it's not just knowing those things, but encouraging them, motivating them, providing the tools and resources for them
those things, yeah.
to actually accomplish those things for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because if you have all of those big things, and most of the time, like you said, they want it all and they want it right now, your team gets confused. They don't know what the true priority is.
Yeah.
And so they end up spending a lot of time, well, I don't know, what does Riley want? He wants us to do this. Well, I don't have any time to serve the guest.
Yeah.
Or serve them well.
Yeah. And I think sometimes too, right, like you hear, and I get the privilege of this all the time is those shifting priorities from the business, from the economy, mm-hmm. From what's going on in the world, right? Like there's a lot of different things that end up happening that may shift those priorities, which can create a lot of confusion. So we as leaders need to also help balance those things, right? In the restaurant world, and you said it, right? You're going to get unexpected visits. You're going to have unexpected guests that maybe aren't exactly happy with you. You're going to have conflicting priorities within, assistants, because you have multiple assistants. Yep. You have leadership that may, have different expectations. So alignment around the restaurant goal is really that first step in providing clarity. So what do you recommend as far as just helping maybe set those first milestone achievements?
And exactly to your point, you're going to have some overarching stuff that your boss has told you to focus on, mm-hmm. right? But the beauty in being a general manager is that you can set the priority within the restaurant. Yeah. You've got your goal, mm-hmm. and you can work on that either through your assistants or at a higher level. But then have your restaurant work on the other things that are important to you. Mm-hmm. It's your restaurant.
Sure. Yeah.
So set clear goals and set a clear focus. Prioritize, I would say, 1 to 2 key things each week, month, or given time period mm-hmm. that your team can really dig their heels into. And we've had an episode before about WIGs and mm-hmm. wildly important goals and really setting and dialing in that focus to that one thing. And boy, is it paid. It's paid numbers.
I love a good, wildly important goal.
It's a good one, right?
You're speaking my language. It's been a fun journey as we've grown as an organization to really be able to take some of the restaurants that we've acquired and said, okay, here's our wildly important mm-hmm. goal, right? And they've had goals before and they had targets and good restaurants, right? But all of a sudden now we go in there with this intense focus around like, hey, we just want to achieve this. Mm-hmm. And it's been really fun. It's been an awesome journey, and a lot of the managers have really supported that. Like, yeah, we can do that. We can achieve that. And not a problem.
Do you remember what we heard before?
What was that?
Like when we first told them the first WIG?
Oh, yeah.
You're crazy. That's never going to happen,
Never,
Eric.
Never.
You're out of your mind.
Yeah. And maybe,
I mean, just a little bit,
but I'm going to tell you, right, with a singular focus around what we're trying to achieve, with clarity and a management team that is rowing in the same direction, right? Like you talked about like not knowing what to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
But when we as leaders can stay the course, we chart the course, we stay the course, and we don't let all these little hiccups really distract us from it. Because in my opinion, it's simply just distractions, right? Like there's this whole world of just chaos, right? And all of these little things can throw us off all the time. But the team has just gravitated towards really having that speed, right,
Mm-hmm.
of expectations and saying, okay, hey, not only can we do it, but we are doing it. And it only took us like 10 days to really achieve that initial like wildly important goal of just, hey, this is what we want to do and this is how we're going to show the team that we can win.
Mm-hmm.
Because it really did come down to, we know you're capable. We've seen you're capable. The restaurants are capable. Here's an example of other restaurants showing that they can do it, right? Because I think sometimes too, we have to show
that it's possible.
Yeah,
that you aren't crazy.
Yeah, not as crazy as it may seem.
Yeah.
So as we're having these conversations and we're showing and we're achieving, it just becomes fun, right? Like all of a sudden now everyone's having just a ton of fun with what we're asking. Yeah.
Where before maybe not so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to go in there and set that wildly important goal, and 10 days is kind of wild, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
But in your restaurant, you can set maybe those wildly important goals for your restaurant. Maybe cleanliness is really important to you, or maybe, because you've already got speed, right? That's the overarching one, or maybe whatever.
Yeah.
But you can also rotate them, because we've had a couple wigs that we've rotated through over the last 18 months.
Oh, yeah.
And so when we give each area its moment to shine, it allows the team to really get in there and lead with confidence and effort, to where it becomes so simple that you can move on to the next one.
Yeah. And we discussed overwhelming our people, right? In the very beginning here, where, it can feel overwhelming because you may have 10, 15, 20. And let's face it, you still have a bunch of things to really, that may overwhelm you. But I think from a leadership standpoint, when we allow those singular focuses, right? Like things can still be overwhelming, but at least there's some success, right? At least there's something that they can hang their hat on and say, look at what I'm doing, look at what we're doing. Because ultimately, I think failure comes from that overwhelming feeling, the frustrations that we have of just feeling like a failure.
Yeah.
And I see that from our leadership team. I'm not saying just in the restaurants, but I'm saying from everybody. Like there's this ingrained fear of failure that we're letting each other down, we're letting ourselves down, and it's hard to sometimes find the positives.
It is. As we grow, there are some people who maybe, might slow down progress because maybe they don't know what success looks like anymore, because we either grow or because the energy is spread thin because they've got so many things going on. Going through an acquisition, some teams feel it more than others. And so you've got maybe one section that's really maybe, down in here because their energy is so spread thin. Where you've got another team like operations who's just kicking butt.
Well, it's funny you say that, because it's kind of what we've been going through. Like I'm completely re-energized, right? Like, and it's not that I didn't have the energy before, but it's this like new adventure type thing. We have people from our tech team from different restaurants going in and helping, some of the new restaurants. We have some people that are going in, and I'm going to tell you, like the energy that we feel is just super contagious.
Do you think that? I mean, well, I can tell you. I mean, it depends on probably the size of the acquisition, I would assume.
Sure.
But like I personally have been here for almost. Well, over half of them probably.
Yeah.
But I don't remember the effort and focus that we've put with these ones.
Yeah. Well, we're learning, right?
are.
Like, first of all, we're learning what we should or shouldn't do when it comes to growth and how to approach these things. And our team has just, like I said, done just a tremendous job. But it's funny because of how much energy there is. Then I'm looking at some of the rest of the organization. I'm like, well, how do we get some of that energy back? Right? Because I'm going to tell you, right? Like it's the energy is starting to get spread a little bit thin, right? And I think the motivational part of all of this is that our leadership team has to find their their energy, their motivation, and their focus. And I think that's where, like you said, the clarity comes in, right? Like we need to know what we're trying to achieve and why we're trying to achieve it. And that's where that natural energy comes in. And I think sometimes what we do doesn't always allow us to have that energy, right? Because it can get a little mundane sometimes. Maybe you're doing the same thing over and over and over again. Maybe you're facing some of the same issues. So how do we as leaders wake up with that energy that our team needs, right? How do we provide the clarity, not just for our team, but for ourselves, to where there is a reason to get out of bed in the morning? And maybe it's just me, Riley, as I'm saying this out loud, but like I'm super feeling the energy. And I think that our teams, right, especially our underperforming restaurants, how do we get that energy back? And how do we get that feeling back, that feeling of, hey, this can be successful?
That is a great question, and I wish I had a good answer.
Yeah, and I'm not saying I do have the answer, and I'm not saying that it's a problem that we can solve today, but I think as leaders, right, we need to check ourselves sometimes.
I was just going to say, we need to reevaluate ourselves. Yeah. Are we having one-on-ones with our boss? Do we have a good list of, where our development is? Are we actively doing things to better ourselves? Especially as the underperformers, what are we doing to get ourselves out of it? Because at the end of the day, it's your restaurants, your results.
Yeah. Yeah. One of our new members was saying that sometimes they go in and there's energy vampires, right? Like they're, right?
Energy vampires.
I had never really heard that before, but it's true, right? And I was thinking about it more and more over the last few weeks, and I'm like, yeah, there are people where when you walk in, like they just suck the life out of you. Right. So, how do we,
fair.
I don't know, maybe it's just that, hey, you're an random vampires or something. But no, I think I just do as leaders. I think we have to find ways to really energize ourselves, because there is just a stark difference. Like there's such a huge contrast to going into a restaurant that's polarizing and energetic versus a restaurant where everyone's kind of that
vampires,
energy sucking vampires. Yeah. So
no, that is a great question, and I think we're both right. Like it starts with the leader. And, for our organization, it's super cool because we give our leaders the breadth to kind of design their own culture and to design their restaurant, obviously in line with us. But if you don't like going to work every morning, then change something, do something different. Talk to your team more. Have those manager meetings and those one-on-ones. I know we talk about it probably every episode, but they're so important. Yeah. And I think that will maybe bring a little bit more energy into that team. But as far as the energy vampires go, that's when you got to have some serious hard conversations and some coaching conversations. Right. Because negativity
breeds negativity. And it's just, I don't know. Like it's hard. It's hard to be around negative people, and it's hard to be around people who are sucking the energy out of you. And if you have those people, that's where, take a look at what that looks like and talk to them about that.
And when we have so much things going on, the whirlwind, the chaos, the team can start to tune out the message. And because everything is so important, nothing is. And they stop listening. And that, to me, that's detrimental with with where we're at and our growth and our journey in the organization and what we've been able to do. Like if people stopped listening and they just didn't care, they were checked out, gosh, that would suck.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what would be worse. Yeah. Personally, I don't know.
The nice thing, I think, for our organization and our people is that we don't have a lot of those, if any. Like, I was thinking to myself, like, we have such amazing people that, I go into our restaurants and sure, maybe, 3, 5, 10 years ago, I would feel that way. But like, I don't know, I just don't feel that as much from our organization and our people. And I think that's because we do provide clarity. I think it's because we are providing, goals and rewards and recognition. And we're trying to lead with positivity much more than, with discipline. And that culture that we're building, I think the message is a lot better.
I agree.
But there are times where, you have to change up the message a little bit. You have to, make sure that you're prioritizing a little bit and continue to focus goals, because it can, I don't know, sometimes I feel like this is just that crumbly foundation of what we're building, and how solid is it really? Like, and there's this pressure and this stress, and there's this, where you have to achieve everything all at once. But I do feel when we have these right conversations and we limit the chaos, like our team is just,
they're in it with us.
Amazing.
Yeah, they're phenomenal. They're in it with us. They're in it to win. And as long as we, again, stay clear, stay focused as the organization,
Yeah.
I think they will be too.
I know they will be.
Yeah.
It's true.
All right, guys. So we just talked a lot about clarity on this cloudy day. We do need a window. I think.
We apparently, yeah. That'll
natural
definitely
light.
help.
But jokes aside, it's important to lead with clarity and lead with focus, and your teams and your organization will be better for it.
Yeah, and it's true. I've been able to work with other organizations, and they've kind of adapted some of those same concepts where they are providing a little bit more clarity, goals,
Awesome.
wildly important goals,
Yeah.
providing a little bit more energy and the positivity. And I'm going to tell you, they're seeing results. We're seeing results. Like, these things do work. So as you're working with yourself, your team, I think just continue to find ways to help your team identify what success really looks like.
Mhm.
And with that being said, it's
celebrate with them.
yeah.
It's so important.
Mm-hmm.
It's everybody. It takes everybody to win.
Yeah.
And when you celebrate that, it reinforces that behavior.
Yeah.
So
Yep, absolutely. So listen, learn, lead. We appreciate you being here, and we look forward to you joining us on the next episode. Make sure to share and subscribe.
absolutely.
Right? What else do you say on that one?
Yes.
Someday I'm going to have that memorized. Yeah.
Never do it.
Click the like button.
Yeah. Follow and subscribe. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify and Apple and wherever your podcast. I almost got it.
Almost. All right. We'll get that clarified. A little clarity in the next one. So,
There you go.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us on Buns, Burgers, and Big Ideas. We hope today's episode inspired fresh ideas for your leadership journey. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and keep learning with us as we continue to explore leadership in the QSR world. Until next time, take care and lead well.